In 1973, a house burned down in Pittsburgh. The fire investigator found the origin point, a single electrical outlet in the living room. The wire behind it had not shorted. It had not been overloaded. It had simply been connected, the same way it was connected when the house was built 8 years earlier. The connection had oxidized. The resistance had climbed. The heat had built up inside the wall, invisible, for months. And then the wall caught fire while the family was asleep. That house was not unusual. It was one of an estimated 2 million American homes built between 1965 and 1973 with the same wiring inside the walls. The U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission called it a national hazard. They documented it. They published the fire statistics. They told the industry what needed to change. The industry changed the wire. But they did not change the business model behind why aluminum was there in the first place. And 50 years later, the same economic logic that put dangerous wiring into 2 million American homes is still operating, in a different form, with a different material, and a different name on the cable. The original residential wiring standard in America was copper. Not because copper was the only option, but because copper was the right option. Copper has a thermal expansion coefficient of 17 millionths per degree Celsius. It does not oxidize at connection points under normal operating conditions. It maintains conductivity at the junction. Whether the connection is 1 year old or 40 years old, a properly installed 14-gauge copper circuit from 1945 is still carrying current in millions of American homes today, without incident. In 1965, the price of copper spiked. The residential construction boom was pushing demand faster than mines could supply it. Developers were building tract housing by the thousands, and copper wiring represented a measurable line item on every build. Aluminum cost less. Aluminum conducted electricity. Aluminum was lighter and easier to pull through walls. The National Electrical Code permitted it. So the builders used it. Between 1965 and 1973, approximately 2 million American homes were wired with single-strand solid aluminum on the 15-amp and 20-amp branch circuits, the circuits that power every outlet and light switch in every room. Not the heavy gauge circuits for dryers and ranges, where aluminum was and still is standard practice. The everyday circuits, the ones behind the outlets where you plug in a lamp, the ones behind the switch where you turn on the bedroom light. The thermal expansion coefficient of aluminum is 23 millionths per degree Celsius. That is 35% higher than copper. Every time that circuit carries a load, the wire expands. Every time the load drops, the wire contracts. At the connection point, the screw terminal on an outlet, and the connection inside a junction box, that expansion and contraction is happening hundreds of times per year. The screw does not move with the wire. The connection loosens. And loose connections do not fail cleanly. They arc. The failure mechanism in aluminum branch circuit wiring has a specific name: galvanic oxidation at the termination point. It is not mysterious. It is chemistry. And it was predictable from the moment the first aluminum wire was stapled into the first wall stud. Here's what happens inside your wall, in sequence. Aluminum, unlike copper, oxidizes aggressively at the surface when exposed to air. The oxidation layer, aluminum oxide, is electrically resistant. On a copper wire, the oxide layer that forms is thin, soft, and conductive enough that it does not significantly impede the circuit. On aluminum, the oxide layer is harder, thicker, and genuinely resistive. At a connection point where aluminum wire meets a copper device terminal, a standard outlet, or a standard switch, you now have two dissimilar metals in contact. This is called a galvanic couple. The two metals have different electrochemical potentials. In the presence of any moisture, and every home has humidity, the galvanic couple begins to corrode. The corrosion increases resistance at the junction. Increased resistance means increased heat when current flows. The heat accelerates the expansion and contraction cycle. The expansion and contraction cycle loosens the mechanical connection further. The looser connection increases resistance again. This is a self-reinforcing loop. Electricians call it thermal runaway at the termination. The wire does not need to be overloaded, it does not need to be damaged, it only needs to be connected to any standard device designed for copper, and time does the rest. The CPSC commissioned a study through the Franklin Research Institute that measured exactly how dangerous this failure mode was. The study found that homes wired with single-strand aluminum on branch circuits were 55 times more likely to reach fire hazard conditions at one or more connection points than homes wired with copper. A typical home has over 200 connection points. The math is not reassuring. The fire hazard condition in the study was defined as a connection point reaching 149 degrees Celsius, or sparks being emitted from the outlet. Both conditions mean the materials behind the wall, the wood framing, the paper facing on the drywall, and the insulation are approaching ignition temperature. The fire does not start at the outlet. It starts in the wall behind the outlet. By the time a smoke detector registers it, the fire has been burning inside the structure for minutes or hours. The industry knew this by 1972. The NEC began restricting aluminum from 15 amp and 20 amp residential branch circuits in most municipalities. Manufacturers began labeling devices as COALR, safe for use with copper or aluminum, as a remediation measure. The CPSC published repair guidelines. None of this helped the 2 million homes that were already built. The Consumer Product Safety Commission's own data from that era documents 42,000 home electrical wiring fires per year, causing an average of 340 deaths annually and $569 million in property losses per year, and that was 1990 data. By the time the CPSC issued its full report on residential electrical fire costs, the total annual burden to society from home wiring fires was estimated at $3.4 billion per year. That is not a typo. The CPSC published the Aluminum Wiring Repair Guidelines. The document is still available on their website. It identifies exactly 2 approved repair methods. One is full replacement of the aluminum wiring with copper. The other is a specific crimp connector technique using listed connectors to attach a short copper pigtail at every termination point throughout the house. The pigtail method, known as the co-palum repair, was developed precisely because full rewiring of a 2 million home inventory was not a realistic expectation. The cost to fully rewire a home today runs between $8,000 and $15,000, depending on square footage and access. The cost to perform the copalum pigtail repair on every connection point in the same home runs between $1,500 and $5,000. Neither cost was ever absorbed by the developers who chose aluminum in 1968 to save $200 per house on a $22,000 build. That decision has now been inherited by every subsequent owner of every one of those 2 million homes, most of whom do not know the wiring exists until an inspector flags it, an insurer refuses to write the policy, or the wall catches fire. The insurance industry has its own position on this. Many insurers will not write a homeowner policy on a property with single-strand aluminum branch circuit wiring. Others will write the policy at a significant premium surcharge. The homeowner who discovers aluminum wiring during a resale inspection faces a remediation cost that was never in their budget for a problem that was created 60 years ago by someone who is not liable for it today. This is not an accident. This is a design choice that was made in 1965 by developers optimizing for build cost per unit, permitted by a code that has since corrected its error, and never remediated by the parties who created the liability. The correction cost was externalized to every future owner of the property. The industry that supplied the aluminum wire moved on. The industry that now sells the remediation services, the electricians, the inspectors, and the insurers earns revenue every year on the consequences. The first thing you need to know is whether your home has it. If your house was built between 1965 and 1973, the probability is significant. If your house is in a region where the construction boom was heaviest during that period, the Sun Belt, the Mid-Atlantic, or the Midwest suburbs, the probability is higher. Identification is straightforward. Go to your electrical panel. Look at the individual branch circuit wires feeding the breakers. If the wire jacket is printed with the word aluminum or with the letters AL at regular intervals along the cable, you have aluminum wiring. If the cable is marked CU clad, that means copper clad aluminum, a transitional product from 1971 to 1980, which has a different risk profile. Standard copper wiring will be marked copper or CU, or simply have no conductor material designation at all. If you have aluminum branch circuit wiring, here is what the CPSC recommends, in order of effectiveness. The permanent solution is full rewiring with copper. It is expensive and disruptive, and it is the only option that eliminates the hazard entirely. The intermediate solution is the copalum crimp repair. A licensed electrician installs an approved aluminum to copper crimp connector with a short copper pigtail at every single connection point in the house. Every outlet, every switch, every junction box. This has to be every connection point. One missed termination is one thermally unstable junction still inside the wall. What does not work? Alumicon push-in connectors are listed as an alternative, but the CPSC notes the long-term performance data is thinner than copalum. Standard wire nuts are not an approved repair method for aluminum to copper connections. Replacing individual outlets with OALR rated devices helps at the outlet, but it does not address junction boxes and splice connections elsewhere in the circuit. The number to look for on any device you install in a home with aluminum wiring is COALR. That designation means the device was tested and listed for use with either copper or aluminum conductors. A standard outlet is rated for copper only. Installing a standard outlet on an aluminum circuit is the exact mechanical condition that produces the failure described above. It is still happening in homes where the aluminum wiring was never identified. I need to be honest about what this information can and cannot do. If your house has aluminum branch circuit wiring from this period, you cannot treat it as a neutral condition. The CPSC's own numbers say 55 times the fire hazard rate. That is not a statistic you can manage with routine maintenance. The decision between full rewiring and the pigtail repair is a financial one, but neither option is optional, and the cost of neither option should be a surprise. It should be factored into any purchase price of a home built in this era, and verified during any inspection before closing. The developers who chose aluminum in 1965 saved approximately $200 per house. They built the houses, sold the houses, and moved on. Every owner since has lived above a failure mechanism that is now 6 decades old and still active. 2 million homes. The liability was not theirs. The repair cost is yours. Stop buying the story that old homes are charming. Some of them are charming. Some of them are wired to burn. Next, the circuit breaker they stopped making in 1983. The panel that Federal Pacific Electric installed in 3 million American homes. The class action they settled. And why electricians still find them behind the drywall of houses that passed inspection last week.